Greetings, Barcadians, and welcome to another edition of Gaming News Weekly. With your hosts, me, Tabs, my good friend Rich. Say hello, Rich.
Hello.
As ever, Friday, 5 p.m. UK time, we're ready to go, revving our engines to relay to you the three juiciest news topics we could find that are happening in the games industry in any given week, followed by our quick fire everything else, which is just a mop-up of what we couldn't squeeze into the main. Little bit of a quiet news week this week, although there's some good topics to discuss, I feel, that we'll enjoy, Rich. But before we go through that, shall we tell everybody, Rich, what we've been mostly playing this week?
Absolutely. So I think continuing on the theme from last week, I've pretty much almost entirely been playing Death Stranding. I'm still really enjoying it. I've kind of taken a different tact on this playthrough. Been working on some of the infrastructure and getting that built up more in this playthrough, way more so than previous playthrough. I've actually done quite a few bits that I didn't achieve on on my first playthrough when it first originally came out. And I've just got to the bit where the gameplay dynamic changes. I'm not going to try not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it, but the gameplay dynamic changes and you have to do a different style of play, and I've basically been putting that off. It's a mission I need to start and I don't really want to do it because I know what's coming, and I struggled.
You didn't like it last time, did you? Is it safe to say that? Yeah.
I think it's one of those I wasn't achieving very highly in it, so I really struggled with it, and I think that put me off it. But hopefully it will be a little bit better this time. But yeah, that's my week in games. Hopefully you guys have been playing lots of games, but let's hear what Tab's been doing.
Yeah, mate, I would say on that bit, focus on your infrastructure this time. I mean, I'm sure you did last time, but maybe go to town with that and just see if that... Because I've read a couple of things of people playing it on that section of the game, and yeah, they've gone nuts with zip lines and things like that. Just to see what it does for you. But yeah, I'm interested to stay tuned on that. And for me, mate, yeah, a little bit of Death Stranding. I don't even know. Have I played any this week? I don't think I played any this week.
I personally will be surprised if you have. Just with talkings, it's not sounded like you've had much time for gaming.
No, actually, you know what? I don't think I've played any games so far this week. But there's still time for that to change. We, of course, film on a Thursday, so the week has not yet ended. But yeah, I would likely touch base with Death Stranding, because I have been pushing that along slowly. Still meaning to get back to Zelda Skyward Sword. Because I really want to complete it, but it's just not... You know when a game gets under your skin and you really want to play it like Rich and Death Stranding, it draws you back to it, whether you want to or not. You find time for it, and it's not had that effect on me. Certainly incomparable to the likes of Breath of the Wild, which certainly did. I wanted to live, breathe, and eat Breath of the Wild. But
yeah, Breath of the Wild was like a life halter. Everything's on hold until Breath of the Wild's done.
Relationships out the window. This comes first.
Yeah.
But anyway. But Rich, I shall move us on to the first story this week. Barcadians, as ever, let us know what you've been playing this week. We're always interested to hear. And if you haven't already, smash the like button. You should have done it anyway, but I'm just reminding you. So first story this week, GTA Trilogy is real. So this comes courtesy of IGN, the article we've pulled to illustrate this, and this is what they had to say. After many leaks, Rockstar Games has officially announced the Grand Theft Auto, The Trilogy, the definitive edition, comprising Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. The updated games will be released for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC via the Rockstar's game launcher, which of course is sort of where it leads, isn't it? Later this year. Mobile ports will follow next year. They're really going for it then. All three games will feature across-the-board upgrades, including graphical improvements and modern gameplay enhancements for all three titles, while still maintaining the classic look and feel of the originals. Perhaps a lot to pull out there, which we'll come to, Rich. More details will follow in the coming weeks, but Rockstar has not yet confirmed if the games will be released as a single package, as individual titles, or both. I mean, sounds to me like it's got to be as an individual title, as a package. The existing versions of all 3 games will be removed from digital storefronts next week. And Rockstar also announced that the games will come to iOS and Android in the first half of 2022. So suffice to say on this one, chuffed to bits. It's been, I think, on the news, Rich, I've been talking a lot, haven't I? I've been waiting for GTA to come to the Switch for starters. I've been saying that for ages. Every Nintendo Direct, I've been like, are we going to see GTA or a big game like that? So I'm chuffed to bits. I feel personally for me, I'd love to revisit these games because modern games are they're very complicated. And Death Stranding, perfect example in question. They're so complicated. They can be a little bit draining sometimes. Some of these modern open world games with their intricacies, complexities, it's part of why we love them, but there's no doubt about it that they take, they're stressful to an extent. They take it out of you. I need to kind of breathe after them. And like I said to you guys on the news and Rich, recently I've just been wanting to idle and switch my brain off a bit when I play games. I don't want a big, onerous, laborious, demanding game. And these, I think, because of the way they're built, they're designed, they're a bit more simple, a bit more straightforward. For me, it's the perfect time to revisit them, and I'm really excited to do so. Still up in the air on whether I buy for Switch or PS5, perhaps even PC. But suffice to say, I'm really excited. But Rich, what's your thoughts, and what do you make of what they say about graphical improvements, modern gameplay enhancements, while maintaining a classic look? What does that mean, do you think?
So I think we have just spoke a little bit about this, but firstly, I think it'll be a trilogy. It'll be one disc or one game purchase. It will be all of them. Otherwise, why call it the trilogy? Seems I don't understand. You just say they were remasters in their individual rights, but I will think what we'll see is. I don't think we'll see a massive step in graphics. I just can't see how they can maintain the look of the original and put a more modern engine on it. I think we'll see maybe the original engine, maybe with some quality of life in there, maybe some anti-aliasing, better frame rates, maybe better textures, stuff like that. So add-ons to the original engine maybe. I don't think we'll see a new engine. I think that's way too ambitious for this, especially if they want to keep the sort of look and feel of the original. I think that's what I'm thinking. We had a little conversation about this. There's rumours this is going to be $70. On first thought, that I sort of balked at that. I thought that was ridiculous. But we talked it out, and actually, it's 3 incredible titles with a huge amount of gameplay hour potential there. And if you're going to buy each one of them, even though they're a good few years old, you'd pay £15-20 for them each. So that's, I guess, where you get to your sort of £60, $70 sort of price range. So yeah, excited for this. I'm not convinced I'm going to buy this. I'll see if it gets hyped massively, then maybe I'll jump on the bandwagon. What about you, Taz? Anything else to add?
Based on, again, our conversation we had before filming, I am of the glass half full. I'm still really optimistic with the graphical enhancements that it's going to be, like Alan Wake. We've seen that, the recent remaster. I watched a video on Digital Foundry the other day, and the difference they've made to it is quite marked in terms of better textures. I think the lighting system as well has been kind of reworked. So I think if they can get improved draw distance, less pop-up and things like that. Obviously, frame rate and resolution will hopefully be dramatically improved, which will just help the experience no end. And then on top of that, textures, and usually alongside that, you kind of have to rebuild or touch up character models a bit. So you can still leave that kind of goofy shape and style and the proportions of the GTA characters, but obviously you've got a more detailed face and textures around all that. And with a better lighting system as well, I think it'd just go a long way to really bringing that experience up to date. And you've got to think, mate, games like Vice City, with all the colours of the 80s and the, illuminations of the 80s, I feel like they'd be missing a trick not to really, try and bring that to life. Because let's be honest, if you go back to those games now, they're pretty damn blurry. Just because of the resolution and because of the fidelity, couldn't be achieved that it can be today. So I'm still really hopeful, and like you say, that will then go a long way to justifying again this rumored $70 price tag, because if they've reworked it that substantially, it's like, okay, sign me up to this.
It's very interesting, isn't it? I mean, sometimes you have to pinch yourself that we live in the technological age that we do. Back in the day when we were kids and GTA 3 first came out, a fully 3D GTA was like groundbreaking, like blow your mind type like things, and we're getting games like that all the time, every year now, and yet that game is potentially going to release, well, it is from this article going to release next year on your phone. I mean, that's insane. What is going on?
Yeah, that's what concerns me, actually, and that could be more credence to what you're saying, that it's less of a graphical leap and enhancement, because if they're bridging it to mobiles as well, we know when you're trying to straddle that kind of wide system benchmark, it's going to hold the top end of what they can achieve back. So yeah, that does concern me. But then we've heard rumors about it being remade in Unreal Engine, and we know that's very scalable.
And
so anyway,
to be fair, it has to work on the Switch as well. So
so a lot remains to be seen, but certainly me and Rich are clearly in different camps on this one. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. They're classic games, and I can't wait personally. But Rich, move us on.
Absolutely.
To story 2.
So, Switch OLED going down well, and this comes courtesy of Eurogamer. Ultimately, the Switch OLED model really is all about the screen, and while some may be disappointed with Nintendo's approach to this machine, the new machine delivers the premium quality I've always wanted. It addresses every major weakness in the physical design of the existing unit while greatly enhancing the screen. It looks so much better than it makes me want to use the system in portable mode more often, especially when you see just how beautiful a game like Metroid Dread looks running on the revised system. But of course, if you only play in docked mode, you will not see any real differences. Yes, it has a new modified dock with a more pleasing design and an actual LAN port, but beyond that, this is the same system as before. We don't know when Nintendo will deliver a next generation Switch console, but until that time, the new OLED model is an absolute best way to enjoy the machine's excellent library of games. If you don't own a Switch and you're looking to buy one, this is the one to get. And if you're already a Switch owner and display quality in portable mode is important to you, then this is a must-have upgrade. So, sort of a glass half empty and glass half full sort of talk there. Obviously, we know that it's the OLED model, so it stands to reason that the OLED screen would be the big talking point with this. I don't think they're ambitious enough with this myself. I think they should have gone further with this to have more tangible changes, but I think we've discussed in previous weeks that maybe with the semiconductor shortage and stuff, they watered down what maybe this was originally going to be this OLED model. I have to say, it doesn't offer enough for me as a Switch owner to want to go and get another one, and actually I don't feel like there's enough hype with Switch games at the moment. With Breath of the Wild 2 being pushed back, it's not making me desperately want to go and get an OLED. Having said that, when Breath of the Wild 2 drops, a game I played a lot handheld, maybe will I be pushed to get an OLED model? I don't know, maybe. We'll have to see. What do you make of this, Tubbs?
Yeah, I included it in the news this week because I have seen some really positive things about the OLED. Like, the quality of the OLED is such that certain games almost convince you it is a next-gen Switch.
Wow. Because
of the level of contrast on the screen, the sharpness, and even the motion processing. I'm sure they mentioned on Digital Foundry, John Linneman I think did a bit, that in some ways it's an all-round better screen. I think even audio is improved on this model, and it just feels premium. So I have really been kind of like envious of people who have got it, because if I don't know, I suppose my time was split about 50-50 between portable play and docked play. But also depending on the game, like Hades, I'd spend a lot portable play. but then, like you say, like Breath of the Wild, I did play quite a bit docked as well. It's an epic game. It was that big screen experience, but like we've already said, I lived and breathed it, so it just went wherever I went. But yeah, I just I'm envious looking on, but I still don't feel like there's a justification for it,
agreed.
because majority of the time I do play things docked, and I think that's where, like you say, they've not been ambitious enough. Although we heard, didn't we? I think rumours were, because of the chip shortage, they couldn't go ahead with what was potentially a planned chip inside the new docks to allow them to enable 4K 60. And that's a juicy little tidbit. I've not really put it in this story, but apparently the new OLED dock has the components within it to be capable of delivering 4K 60. And on top of that, the HDMI, I think, is a 2.0 cable, which is obviously compatible with a 4K 60 signal as well. And people are asking questions, why have they done that? If it can't deliver it, why? Is it somehow like they're paving the way for the next, will it be the Switch 2? Will they deliver the Switch Pro rumored in full next year, which will be capable of 460 dock? Because it would have been a much more compelling package for me had it not only uplifted the portable experience, but of course the Switch is a hybrid console. It also has an uplift on that docked experience. So we're in the same camp on this one, mate. That I feel like they've missed a trick, but reasons seem to suggest why. There's the chip shortage. But at the same time, I can't help but look at all these people playing this lovely crisp OLED screen and just thinking, I'd love to play a bit of Metroid Dread on that and see what it's like. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get on to story number 3.
Go for it, mate.
And this headline reads, Resi Evil movie trailer. So this article comes from Tech Radar. This is what they had to say about it. The upcoming Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie is releasing exclusively in theatres on November the 24th, 2021. And the long-awaited film has finally received its first trailer. And the best part is that, shockingly, it doesn't look half bad. At roughly 2.5 minutes long, the trailer largely focuses on the events of Resident Evil 2, that being in and around the Raccoon Police Department headquarters. Set design is impressively evocative of the PS1 original, as well as the lauded 2019 Resident Evil 2 remake. We won't rush to conclusions for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City just yet, but judging by the first trailer, the film looks to be doing a lot of things right. Set design is incredibly accurate and fittingly moody, and there are tons of recognisable props and iconography that scream Resident Evil. So, so yeah, I threw this in again, Rich, quite Newsweek, as you can tell, BArcadians, but it's again caused quite a bit of a stir. It's a bit of a topic. As we know, it feels like there's a massive trend of gaming IP being adapted to film and television, and I don't think we've even seen the peak of that. I think we're going to see more and more of it. But this was a franchise that was previously adapted in a very different way, perhaps not really authentic to the video games, only tenuously so. And certainly it was very action heavy and action focused and less about the horror. And it feels like with this, it's more of a return to a faithful adaptation. They're kind of doing a combination of the Resident Evil 1 and 2, but there's so much to it that seems to be quite slavishly authentic. Like the set design, for example, I'm sure they've said they got like the original blueprints from Capcom and they've literally built the set, almost one-to-one with what we saw in the video games. And there's so many references, and it's whether they manage to accomplish putting all that onto film and just making it a good film in its own right, not just a cavalcade of Resident Evil fan service, which I was speaking with a friend last night, but we see that a lot, don't we, Rich, these days? Like definitely. Even the Star Wars trilogy, the recent one, there's a lot of fan service in there. And while it tickles that nostalgia in us, well, we won't open that can of worms, but certainly I came away a year later thinking about that Star Wars trilogy, and I thought, that was a bit ropey. It wasn't necessarily good in and of itself. Whilst it might have tickled all those nostalgic, memory lane. But anyway, mate, enough blabbing from me. What did you make of it? What camp do you sit in? Are you excited for it?
I'm really excited for this. I think it looks really good, and I think it looks like, and it's difficult to say from trailers. Always difficult. Sometimes you only see the best bits, and the rest of the film is rubbish. So it is really difficult. But I think it looks really good. I like what they're doing with it. I like that it's authentic. I felt like looked like some scrappy looking CGI, such as the liquor, which you see right at the end of the trailer, looks like obviously not like real. Obviously it's not, but yeah, so I don't know whether they'll improve that, whether that's a look they're going for, but yeah, I am excited for this, and I hope that it is a good film in its own right, and it tells the story that was in the original games while keeping us in that sort of horror. Oh, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm really scared. Yes. The games were, that's how I remember the game. So I hope they get to like take that and gone.
Like tension, suspense, and like you say,
exactly.
Pure horror.
Yeah.
Whereas the Mila Jovovich films, they were more action.
Absolutely.
It didn't feel like there's a lot of horror there. Carry on your thought, mate. Yeah.
But it looks like from the trailer they are going to go through some of the story of how we got to where we were and the suspense and some of the things. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be really good. And along with obviously coming in due course, I hope that The Last of Us, which is a bit of a tangent from this, but I was reading an article on this today, which is another sort of game that's being made into a TV series. I hope that is also epically good and nostalgia towards the game, which is brilliant in its own right. I'm done.
No, I think that's the key. They're the takeaways. Let it be a good film in its own right, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Second, yes, it's nice if they kind of pay homage to the source material in a way that's respectful and, tickles that spot for us gamers who have lived and breathed it for many years. And I think that's the order of things.
Absolutely.
But Rich, let's move on to everything else. See this one out, and I'll kick us off with music streaming service Apple Music may be coming to the PlayStation 5.
Cool.
Not bad.
Excellent. Netflix is looking at expanding Squid Game, the very popular current series on Netflix. I think it's broke records, for the most streams or something, into games, consumer products, and more. So look out for more products for that, possibly including a game.
All the cross-pollination, isn't there, between
it's crazy.
TV and games. Death Stranding Director's Cut on PC looks like a possibility after Steam updates. Bit of data mining there, is there, Rich, maybe?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Something that's happened, an update which suggests that it might be coming. And finally this week, the rumoured Metal Gear Solid 3 remake studio. This is the studio that they think might be remaking Metal Gear Solid 3.
Virtuous or something.
Yeah,
Virtuous,
I think that's it,
Virtuous,
something like that, yeah. Apparently they are working on and I quote, unannounced action-adventure remake.
It's a sure thing, isn't it? Surely.
Anyway, that's it for everything else.
Right then, BArcadians, we've kept you long enough. Thank you for joining us as ever, if indeed you did. Make sure, well, you've already smashed the like button, so I don't need to ask you again. But if you do like what we do, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, give us a little, say hello in the comments, anything in particular you liked this week. And we shall see you next week, Friday, UK time, 5 p.m. Rich, I think that's another one for the archives.
Stamped and completed.